What's up, internet? My name is Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today we're going over BBCan episode number 15. And, I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but this was a good episode overall. We saw the HOH competition, the endurance comp, take place. And I guess we could start off with that. Daniel drops first pretty quickly. We really weren't surprised by that going into this. And then the next person to drop actually ended up being Kuzi. But the reasoning she dropped when she did was they made an offer that the next person who dropped would get an additional 5,000 points for Wendy's, which Kuzi ends up taking and dropping. We still don't know what the Wendy's points will eventually be for, other than they will give some kind of power or advantage in the game. So I'm assuming whoever has the most points will be able to get something, or it may be something along the lines of almost like a shop that you could choose. And if you have this many points, you can get so many different things. We're still not 100% sure. Think almost if anybody was watching the Survivor season when they did the fire tokens or whatever they called them, and you could like buy an immunity idol if you had so many tokens. It might be something similar to that. But again, we just don't really know. But Kuzi gets 5,000 additional points for dropping when she did. Immediately after her, though, like right after her, was Anika. And I don't know if she was just like, all right, now Kuzi's down, I'll go down with her. Or if she thought she was going to get 5,000 points for Wendy's as well. But she just basically gives up right afterwards. John falls a little bit later after that. And that leaves only Hope as the only crown member left up there. Ty was saying how he was ready to say ball game when he wins. And then he had this really weird line where he was like, it's Ty time, which is just too many T's in one one catchphrase. It's a lot of ties there, Ty. Then we ended up getting Santina, who finally drops. Renee shortly after, but she kind of like whispers to Ty and pleads. She's like, don't put me up. Like, please don't put me up. It wasn't me. I wasn't the invisible HOH. But he just promises only that he's taking his shot. And that's the only thing he says. Then eventually she drops, Nene drops, and that leaves just the final three of Ty, Hope, and Claudia. Hope actually says like he has to win this because he knows Ty will put him up, which is kind of funny with how things end up playing out, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And at the 5-hour mark, they make them go to one hand, which personally I think screwed over Claudia. I really feel like she would have a much better chance of winning this whole thing if they didn't make them go to one hand. Both the guys really had a struggle with that as well once it got to that point. Ty was able to hold out just a little bit longer than Hope was, who eventually drops. And gets very emotional kind of on the ground. So Ty is your winner, and Ty is the HOH for this week. But like I said, I feel like Claudia would have had a much better shot if they didn't make them go to one hand. Does it change whether or not she would win or not? I don't know, but I do think going to one hand definitely screwed her over there. We then get the prelude to Wafflegate. It was Toastgate, which had Santina kind of criticizing Anika's garlic bread. And look, I get it, right? And I think everybody who kind of talked about it all got it. Like Daniel was saying it, and who else was it? It was Nene, who was like, you know what? Like, probably not the best thing for your game, right? Which I'm a big proponent of. Like, it doesn't matter what's pissing you off. You just have to, like, kiss ass sometimes in this game and go along with things. Just to make things smoother, right? Because you don't want to piss anybody off when you don't necessarily have to. And to be fair, it did seem like maybe the garlic bread should have been flipped at some point when she was cooking it, and that's Anika's fault. I'm just saying. Then we ended up getting Claudia and Ty having a little convo on what his plans are going to be for nominations. And she really tries to push Kuzi and Anika because of how quickly they fell off and how comfortable they must have felt being able to drop. But Ty really wasn't having any of that. And then eventually we get to full-on Wafflegate, which Santina ends up telling Anika that her waffles are tasteless. They're basically just flour and there's nothing seasoning going on in there. And Anika says how that was kind of rude and maybe you can make your own breakfast next time, which Santina then responds to, well, like, you're being a rude ass. And then calls her a bee. Female dog. Right out in the open in front of everybody. I mean, it was kind of wild over Waffles, but it seems like that's where we were at. And then my favorite part of it was Renee just going, I am so grateful, and like patting Anika on her shoulder. I'm so grateful for the waffles. Thank you so much. Don't scream at me now. Then we ended up getting Hope, who was having a conversation with Ty, and just Hope's being very dumb here, volunteering for the block yet again, even though he was just saying in his diary room session during the HOH competition that he knew that Ty would put him up. Doesn't seem like maybe Ty would have put him up if Hope didn't volunteer, right? He might have been like, you know what? Hope doesn't want to. Maybe I'll put up Nene instead. But pretty much Ty was saying that, you know, he was going after Santina at the end of the day, and that made it easier for Hope to be like, yeah, you know what? I'll be your pawn. But why put yourself in that position? Why volunteer for the block when you're going to eventually just maybe put the crown in a tough position where two of you are up? If you don't volunteer, again, he probably puts up like Santina and Renee as his plan. Obviously, we find out that Santina can't go up in just a bit, but he would have ended up maybe putting up Nene and Renee. He probably might not put up Hope. Maybe he doesn't put up all the people who ends up putting up, but that's still to come. We then end up getting the convo with Ty and Santina, which we saw a lot of on the daily. Pretty much almost the whole conversation we got to see on one of the dailies a while back. And Santina was just kind of asking him how, you know, show me the respect and tell me if you're going to put me up. And he pretty much says, like, I don't think you have the right to ask for that. We weren't really working together, which they were, at least they were supposed to be. He was also the one pushing to Zach that, oh, we can trust Santina. Santina's good. Like, I have Santina under control. But then now decides they weren't actually working together. Ty is really a conundrum when you're trying to figure him out. This all obviously upset Santina, and she ends up leaving the HOH room crying. We then go from that straight to the safety reveal, and it is Santina who wins safety for this week. So that completely messes up all of Ty's plans. And we also find out that this will be the final safety vote for the season. So no one else can have a chance to win it. The ones who ended up winning it were Santina, Claudia, and Jonathan. Those three all won safety, which also makes a lot of sense as far as how Big Brother Canada voting seems to go. It's always the East Coasters, like the Newfies, with Claudia in her case, it's Prince Edward Island. And then Santina is part of the Indigenous community, so they always vote really strong as well. Look back to BBCan11, everyone was like, oh, Julie Vu's going to be one of the captains, we can just tell. And then it ended up being Tina and Kiefer who were the captains because of the vote. So yeah, it just kind of flows with what most Big Brother Canada fans actually vote for. People on Twitter was like, hey, who voted for Santina? Well, also lots of people on Twitter were supporting Santina as well. She was kind of the favorite for going after Dan and Ty just last week. So you gotta love the fandom. You gotta love it. Anyway, after that, people had a lot of things to say inside the house as well. Claudia was very confused, like, are we missing something? And it's like, yeah, most people hate Ty, right? That is why they're voting that way. But also, again, it goes along with how Big Brother Canada votes historically go. And then Anika was super pissed off. She was like, she's so mean, and how does she win this? Like, what's going on? Anika is definitely making the heel turn first. Before Kuzi, I still predict Kuzi will be making that heel turn sooner rather than later. Again, this kind of changes Ty's plans. Originally, he was targeting Santina, wanted her out of the house. So now he has to flip and go to Renee. And he brings her up and kind of has the chat with her. And he's like, listen, I'm just trying to ruffle like as the least amount of feathers as possible. And she's like, why does that really make sense though? Like, shouldn't you be looking at like the other side for people who wouldn't be loyal to you? And he's like, well, you haven't been loyal to me. And he's like, you haven't given me the chance to be loyal. Eventually, Claudia kind of makes a last minute pitch to Renee. And she says like, listen, you're protecting Kuzi and her crew. Like, why are you doing that instead of trying to work with us? And Ty is pretty much like, you know, if you guys want to take a shot at Kuzi, like, you do it then. Like, why do I have to do it? Well, you're HOH. That's why you have to do it. He then goes and gets Renee and Nene to have a kind of conversation about this. And Ty just really won't listen, right? Ty is so stubborn and tunnel visioned on like, oh, I had my targets of Santina and Renee, and those are the ones I'm taking out. Like, Kuzi is loyal to me. Kuzi's also the one who put up your number one. And this conversation actually comes up here as well, where he's like, you know, you haven't shown me any loyalty. But Kuzi is the one who put Zach up and sent him out of the house pretty much. So she put up your number one. I went along with the vote for it, but that doesn't mean like I didn't do it. That was her game move. And you'll say that's okay for her, but it's not for me. And they try to explain to him like how Hope is going to be with Kuzi, Daniel, and Anika way before he would ever try and be with them or even Ty. But he just won't listen at all to it. And then we end up with Renee and Hope getting nominated. And that will lead us into tonight's episode, which will be the veto competition. So yeah, what do you guys think? Actually, I say tonight's episode. I don't know when I'm posting this. I might post this earlier than tonight, than tomorrow morning. It might actually be up before then. But either way, that leads us to the veto episode, which will be the next one we get to see. We may get a digital daily as well. That will be coming up, that will hopefully shed some light on how things are situated now. Obviously, on our little board here, there's no digital daily spoilers at the moment up there, but things have changed. We already know the results of the veto competition as well as the renominees. If you don't want to know that stuff, probably look away now, but I'm about to share in 3, 2, 1. Boom, there we go. Nene won the veto. She took Renee off the block. Jonathan was put up as a replacement nominee. So hopefully we'll find out some more information on where votes are going to end up lying. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see on the dailies that we get between now and eviction on where Daniel, Anika, and Kuzi's vote lands. Also Santina, because she seems like she's going to end up being the swing vote in all this. We've got Renee, Nene, and Claudia, who are all very much on the side of Jonathan right now and keeping him in the house. Hope seems like he would maybe have the Shady Bunch, but Santina seems like she's leaning Jonathan. So would the Shady Bunch actually vote for Hope to stay, knowing that Jonathan would be staying? Would they want to show him that he didn't matter to them? They were ready to vote him out. I don't know. So it could end up being a 4-3 vote. It could end up being a 7-0 vote. We'll see how that all plays out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What did you think of the episode? What do you think of what's going to happen by the time we get to eviction? Let me know all that down there. Also, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the links to all my socials in the description and a pinned comment down below. My Twitter, my Twitch, my Discord, the Kick channel. Go follow the Kick. We'll be live watching Survivor tomorrow on Kick. Hopefully, if I'm feeling well enough. I'm still a little under the weather. You might be able to hear it in my voice. Luckily, I am feeling a little bit better. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you next time.